As you come into the room, please hit the like button. I really would appreciate that. If you decide, this is my Cash App information. If you want to donate to the channel, I would really appreciate that as well. I mean, I'm not going to push this like 20 times, but any donations, of course, would be appreciated. I do not know how well, obviously, we should all be familiar with the movie Hoodlum starring Lawrence Fishburne. But this particular scene is far too familiar to our people. And this is a scene without Larry Fishburne in it. This particular scene is with Tim Roth, who played Dutch Schultz in the movie, and his black so-called hoodlum, the late, great Clarence Williams III. Please hit the 1. I want to make sure that this is heard, because this has happened far too long to our people and in our communities. Let's listen to this particular scene from the movie Hoodlum. Again, this is Dutch Schultz talking to his lackey that is played by Clarence Williams III.
Hey, Hewlett, why don't you take some of this stuff home with you? Me and Foley didn't even finish it, strawberry sandwiches.
No, Dutch. That ain't necessary.
It's just gonna go.
You happen to hear that?
You're going to my grandkids to feed.
It ain't necessary.
Don't be proud. Wrap up the scraps and take them home. It ain't nothing.
Hey, binge thinker, do you think I should play that again for the people in the back who just didn't get it? Because once again, we were fed scraps. And a lot of our people were happy with it. And I understand that there are a lot of families who didn't receive any justice. I understand that. Trust me. I've seen it. I mean, we've been through Sean Bell, Abner Louima, Eric Garner, Eleanor Bumpers, Michael Griffin, Sandra Bland. Yesterday, Tamir Rice would have been 19 years old. We've been through that. We've been through Ferguson, Missouri. You don't know what I'm talking about, binge thinker? Okay. What I'm talking about and what I played was a scene from the movie Hoodlum. And if you remember, Hoodlum was about the legendary Harlem gangster Bumpy Johnson. It was starring Lawrence, it had starred Lawrence Fishburne. Now, this particular scene was with Dutch Schultz talking to his lackey that was played by Clarence Williams III. And he was telling him, in essence, look, don't be proud, N-word. Take the scraps that we're leaving you and be happy with it. Oh, you never saw the movie. Okay, that I get it now. But you know what? For those who actually saw the movie, they understand, they should understand exactly the point that I am making across. Hey, Keisha Bishop, how's everything? I thank you so much. And you have a blessed day as well. I appreciate that. But I will play that one more time because it is very important that this message drives home.
Hey, why don't you take some of this stuff home with you? Me and Foley didn't even finish it, strawberry sandwiches.
No, Dutch. That ain't necessary.
It's just gonna go with garbage otherwise. You're going to need your grandkids to feed.
That ain't necessary.
Don't be proud. Wrap up the scraps and take them home.
Thank you, Dutch.
It ain't nothing.
Isn't that disgusting, ladies and gentlemen? Notice he told him, don't be proud. Wrap up the scraps and take them home. You have grandkids to feed. Like he wasn't man enough to do it himself. He figured that, listen, N-word, our scraps, our leftovers are good enough for you, and that's what you'll get. You'll take them and like them. And that's exactly what happened at that sentencing for Derek Chauvin, that absolute disgrace. I refuse to call that person you know what? I have a problem even calling that a person. That race soldier. That disgusting individual. What the judge, the prosecution, and what the judicial system in Minnesota told Black America was, don't be too proud. Take these scraps that we're giving you. Take this 22 and a half years, which will become 15 years or less, because remember, people, remember, he's only going to do 2/3 of that time. But it's better than nothing. So take that and like it and thank us for it. Make sure you see how docile if you remember how docile he was, and he had no pride. He swallowed his pride. Thank you, Dutch. I mean, what an absolute disgrace. And unfortunately, Bench Thinker, I agree with you. He will do 10 years max. And he'll be out with good behavior. But meanwhile, the Floyd family is serving a life sentence because George Floyd is no longer with us. Now, I understand that they will probably bring him up on civil rights charges. I understand all that. I'm not, but you know, to be fair, I don't have, I'm very pessimistic. And let's face it, I have every right to feel that way. We've seen how this so-called judicial system works, or in our cases, doesn't work. And we've seen how these civil rights charges haven't stuck in the past. I'll tell you what, how'd that work out for the Gardner family? for the Bell family. Not too good, right, folks? How's that worked out for Sandra Bland's family? Oh, yeah. Once again, it hasn't. But you know what? You are absolutely right, Binge Thinker. Until all Melaninites stand united, we will eternally receive scrap. You're not. I believe you are absolutely right. Now, the sad part is, we should be, at least people of a certain age, we should definitely be on one accord when it comes to this particular, well, to any type of white supremacy racism, but especially this so-called judicial system. Oh, trust me, Barai Recordings, I'm going to get to that rather soon, too. Now, we already know, well, at least I already knew going in, that the judicial system failed George Floyd on 3 levels. The first level was the prosecutor. And they opened the door up for this garbage this fraudulent 22 and a half years when they settled for 30 years. Oh, man. Salute, Ava. I did not even, man, I know I need glasses for real because I didn't even see. Salute to you, good brother. Once that prosecution said 3 years, 30 years, it might as well be 3. When they said 30 years, now, mind you, the max was 40 years. And it was at the judge's discretion that he could have went higher than that. But I knew he wasn't going to do that. And you are absolutely right. Once again, Binge Thinker. He was only he was only put in custody and found guilty because they didn't want the riots and the looting, and they didn't want people to march. You're absolutely right about that. And to be fair, and what's going on, Chris Ali? I was quite shocked and quite happy to see that he was found guilty on all counts. But I knew that yesterday was going to be the to tell the truth part, the real part of how far we've come in this country. Jeez. And listen, I understand the side that says, well, a lot of our people got zero justice out of this. So this is better than nothing. I understand that part. I didn't say I agreed with that part, but I understand that part. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is our people being happy with the scraps that have been left to us by the judicial system and white supremacy racism. Oh, please. Now that's going to be another video. Those guys, their trials will come up in a month or so. And it will be very interesting to see what happens to those Ku Klux cops. Those other three, and remember, folks, one of them was a so-called black man. So let's keep that in mind as well. But remember, it's the blue wall of violence. It's not the blue wall of silence. Let's keep that in perspective as well. Well, you know what? I'm getting to that right now. Remember, as I said, the first part was the prosecution failing and only asking for 30 years. The second part, obviously, was this judge who all he did was grandstand and talk down to George Floyd and his family and the black community as a whole. Once again, I wrote it like he did something grand. I wrote a 22-page memo as to why I gave the sentence that I gave. He can kiss my butt with that one. I'm trying to keep it PG, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm doing a pretty decent job so far of that. But the final phase that they failed the Floyd family and the black community, and they once again protect these clowns. See, this clown will be going into PC, otherwise known as protective custody. We know this because these clowns always get it. And unfortunately, Chris Ali, he's not going to get an ice pick. He's not going to get it. Now, the Aryan Nation is going to, and you know he's going to side with the Aryan Nation. We already know that. They're going to protect him like he's the golden child. See what I did just there? Now, I would love for him to get the Jeffrey Dahmer treatment. And if you don't remember Jeffrey Dahmer, please be sure to look that up. But I would settle for the American Me treatment. I don't know if you remember that movie, the American Me, that was starring Edward James Olmos. He should get that type of treatment. Because let's face it, I mean, he should go into general population. Real justice, once again, would have consisted of Chauvin and his 3 musketeers being 6 feet deep in a box along with George Floyd. That would have been true justice. But I feel that I'm a pretty gentle individual. Oh, listen, he's not good. He has no conscience. So as much as I would love to see that, we know that's not happening. But maybe we can get a couple of real COs that will slide them into general population for a few days. And you know what? They can take off the sheets and tie it around his mouth pass him around the yard and grease him up like a pig. And, well, I guess you can figure out the rest. That would be good for good old George. In fact, let's call him Curious George. And Curious George will be able to make some friends. Hey, Sugar Plum, how are you doing this Saturday evening? But that would be a new Dr. Seuss book. And I know that with the cancel culture that we have right now, I guess Dr. Seuss is not in fashion. But, oh, I know, that's a different, is it? I forgot who wrote Curious George. Hey, listen. I'm getting a little up there, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe old Curious George, I know his name is Derek Chauvin. Curious Chauvin can find some friends, and some very special friends. Maybe he could do like your man from the Boondocks. And I don't know if you guys remember when Hugh and Riley went to that prison program, and he deserves more than a blanket party. Blanket party is too simple for him. He deserves an American Me party. And please, ladies and gentlemen, when you get a chance, make sure to watch that movie, American Me. It's a pretty old movie, but it's definitely a classic. And if you remember that scene that happened to, and I forgot who the guy was, but boy, I know he had a mouthful of dry rice, and his booty was stretched out. I know his booty was stretched out like a cookie jar. And that should happen to old Derek Chauvin. It really should. And right before Mr. Chauvin takes that final breath, then he shouldn't, one ice pick just isn't enough. You got to make sure that you have 10 or more ice picks to finish the job. And you know what would be even better? If they stuck him after he got stuffed. They should stick him with those ice picks for exactly 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Wouldn't that be real justice, ladies and gentlemen? I think it would. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I know this was a quick one, but I have things that I have to attend to. I thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah, you know what? Let's hope that not just that lifer, let's hope many of them get that very same chance to get them. And you know what? When they get that chance, let's make sure that they follow through. Thanks so much again, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, share, and subscribe. Uncle Claude signing out. Take care. Stay safe. God bless. Well, except for old Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin, hopefully, and we can only hope that you could be in general population and make sure you tell Satan hi when you make your way down there.